Wow! I'm a doctor. So I've been called Dr. B, Dr. Princess. John's name is Dr. Sweetie. And I'm just enjoying it. It has nothing to do with my talk. I'm starting a class tomorrow night called Building a Healing Consciousness. And the first part of the class is my favorite chapter in the textbook called Principles of Successful Living. So I wanted to, isn't that a great picture? So I wanted to talk about principles of successful living as it relates to a healing consciousness. Because I know there are some people who say, oh, I don't want to deal with success. I just want to be a healing presence in the world. And what I've learned over my 35 years in this teaching is that we cannot do anything for the world until we first do it for ourselves. It's like if you go to a therapist and that therapist has not walked down the road you are walking, they can't help you. If they have not first healed that within themselves, they can't offer anything to you. It's like when you're in an airplane and they say, if the oxygen masks come down, first put one on yourself before you try to help anyone else. Because you're not going to be any help at all if you're passed out because you haven't got the oxygen. But sometimes on this spiritual path, people say, oh, I don't want to deal with the mundane of the world. I don't want to deal with money or jobs or cars or anything like that. I just want to be a healing presence. Now, the thing about our teaching is that our motto is change your thinking, change your life. Change your life, change the world. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. We cannot change the world until we first change ourselves. We cannot have peace in the world until we first find peace within ourselves. It all comes down to experiencing on the inside what we want to bring forth on the outside. And I think I speak for everyone in this room when I say I want to bring forth a world of peace, a world of prosperity. We had David Alt here Friday night, and we were able to gift him with the proceeds of our Christmas project. We gifted him with $2,640 to help build the orphanage in Cambodia that we all contributed to. Now, if we didn't have $2,640 in our group, we couldn't have given it to him for him to take to Cambodia in 18 days and to go help build that orphanage. You have to have it inside of yourself. So I love this idea of principles of successful living, because until we can swim in the sea of consciousness, we cannot help anyone else who may be drowning. And so it's about focusing on ourselves. Now, it's not about trying to gimme, gimme, gimme. Sometimes people come into this teaching and they think, oh, this is just a spiritual multi-level marketing plan. This is just a get-rich-quick plan. This is just about controlling conditions and getting what you want out of life. And that can't be farther from the truth. Because what this is about moving forward in our spiritual evolution to be the being of God that we have come here to be the presence of spirit in the world, which brings forth love and light and health and wholeness and prosperity and peace and joy. But to do that, we have to take care of our own selves. And the way that we do that is by changing how we see ourselves. This is one of the biggest things I ever learned. I was thinking, boy, I could have gone on Friday night for a couple of hours. And maybe I would just do that today instead of Friday night. And I thought, no, that's not going to work. But just to say one thing that I could have said on Friday night is one of the biggest things that I have learned over these decades is how to see myself. That if I see myself as someone who is helpless, I create that on the outside, and I attract to me and foster in the human condition helplessness. Have you ever noticed that? When you're feeling helpless, the world is filled with helpless people, and you're contributing to that? If I see myself as someone who is impoverished, I attract to myself poor people, and I foster that poverty in them. I do it by talking about it, by agreeing with them, by going, oh, you poor baby, the world's done you wrong, and anchoring that in them. When I see myself as someone separate, then I bring that out of life. When I change the way I see myself into a powerful, creative, spiritual being, a being of light and love, a person who can do anything, then I bring that forth in my world. And how in the world are we going to have peace on earth unless we can all feel safe? I'm learning about dogs. Some of you know I have a 3-month-old yellow lab. I've had her for a little over a month. She's interesting. I didn't know you were supposed to take puppies to obedience school. Evidently you are. Okay, I will. And one of the things that I've learned is that when a dog is not exposed to a lot of varied conditions, different people, different circumstances, things that come out of the blue, then whenever they're in that kind of a situation, they feel anxious. And when they're anxious, they become aggressive. Did you know aggressive dogs are really just anxious? And I thought, they're insecure. I thought, well, isn't that true about the bully on the schoolyard playground? The bully on the playground is just afraid. Isn't that true about countries that drop bombs on each other? They're just afraid. So when we can move into a position of going from being afraid of who we are or afraid of what life is going to bring forth into a place of being empowered and clear, that we can reach out into thin air and we can grab whatever it is we need. And whatever it is we grab must be exactly what we need. So we can be at peace with that. If we can move into that inside of ourselves, we can bring it forth into the world. The reason that we teach principles of successful living in the science of mind is so that we can put our own house in order, and then we can move out into the greater us, the I that is we, the other reflections of who we are. And as long as I don't have my house in order, I can't have people around me that don't have their house, that have their house in order. As long as I don't have my house in order, the people around me will also not have their house in order. So my gift to you and our gift to the world is to put our own lives together. And how do we do that? We begin with how we see ourselves. What do you see when you look in the mirror? What do you say when you look in the mirror? Do you see a being that is strong and proud and clear? Do you see someone who has everything that they need to manifest the perfect divine life that they were always meant to live? Or do you see someone who's afraid, someone who pulls back, someone who might have something happen? I encourage you to think very clearly about who you are, because that will set the foundation for everything that you ever do. And I don't care who you've been. Doesn't matter who you've been. Doesn't matter what's happened in the past. It's all about who we are in this moment. Think about it. If God is all that there is, and science is now proving that there is something, they call it a unified field, they call it oneness. Doesn't matter whether we call it God or spirit or the divine or the creative force or the light or the love or the vibration or the energy or whatever we call it. Doesn't matter. It's just words. It's only one. And if that oneness is all that there is, then everybody must be a part, a manifestation, a point, an individualization of that oneness. Think about that. What kind of a point are you? What kind of a part are you? What kind of an individualization are you? I remember thinking, well, that's true for everybody else, but not me. I'm all alone. That's ridiculous. We are all rays of light coming from the one light. We are all points of manifestation coming from the one creative force. So when you look at yourself, can you go beyond your story? Can you go beyond your physical appearance? Can you go beyond your socioeconomic condition, your level of education, whatever has happened up until now? And can you just for a moment consider that there is something powerful and magnificent within you? I was thinking back to my first Science of Mind teacher, Bill Tolliver, 35 years ago in Eugene, Oregon. And he was the one that got me to begin to believe that there was something in me, that there was something greater than my story, something greater than my conditions, something greater than what I thought was possible. He got me to believe that there was something in me. And it's like Sandy's song, I want you to believe in you. Can you for a moment consider that there is something within you that is the same energy that brings forth the sunrise in the morning, that has the stars hang together in the molecules of creation, that is so strong and powerful and beautiful and joyous that it is life itself? Can you just for a moment consider that that's in you? And if it does, if you can do that, you plant a seed that will begin to take root, that will grow so far beyond all of the things you ever thought were possible. We learn how to put our own house in order. And one of the ways we do that is by stopping talking about things that we don't want to live. In building a healing consciousness, we have to stop building a sick consciousness. We have to stop being infectious in a negative way. Have you ever been around someone and they're just spewing negativity all the time? And you got to get away from them because you don't want to catch it. You want to go take a shower. Or at least flood your aura a little bit, kind of get away with it and clean yourself off. Because there's an infectious quality of energy. And if we want to build a healing consciousness that uplifts people, we have to stop putting out an energy that drags people down. And that means we've got to stop letting it come out of our mouths, even if we bite our tongues till it bleeds. Stop saying it. Stop talking about economies. Stop talking about what you can't do. Stop talking about who did it to you. Stop talking about what the government is doing and what is happening halfway around the world. Stop talking about it if you're speaking about it in anything less than, I see God in that. I see God in that. I'm quoting Michael Beckwith when he said that all news reports are a call for prayer. So if you're going to watch the news, go into prayer. And how do we move into prayer? We see God in it. I may not know exactly what the perfection of that is right now, but I know there's perfection in it. And I know it's leading us all into a greater level of awareness, of spiritual evolution, of humanity on planet Earth, and that is the only thing that I will say about it. If you can't do that, keep your mouth shut. Because what you do when you open your mouth is you unleash the power within you. You direct it. You guide it. You focus it. So what we do is we begin to become very mindful of the words that come out of our mouths. We pay attention to where we are putting our focus. We think about who we are, and then we pay attention to what we say about it. And as we do that, we begin to shift. My license plate has said for 20 years, here and in Florida before, be more. And it comes from a quote in this chapter of the textbook, where Ernest says that if someone wishes to have more, they must first become more in their life. That if you want to have more, you have to be more. You can't be little and expect to have big. You can't be afraid and expect to have courage and bravery and to go out on a ledge. You can't hold back and expect your life to move forward. You have to first become that which you want to experience. So what's pushing your buttons? Are people around you that are just cranky? Well, guess what? That's your opportunity to be more. Through the law of attraction, they're simply mirroring back to you that that's going on inside of your consciousness, which, like it or not, is crankiness. And so if you see that in your world, rise above it. Be more. Find some of that light inside of you and pull it out. We were talking this morning about throwing light balls, love balls. Gather up some of that light and love inside of you, and instead of getting upset with someone, bless them. And a great visual is just, and it just goes, and they don't have to change, but it changes you. Rather than going, you go, is that better? Doesn't that give you a better life? And you know, people see you in your cars. A lot of people think they're invisible just because they got in the car. It's a perfect opportunity to throw love balls. It's a perfect opportunity to be more. Let somebody in traffic. Let them in. Welcome them in. Wave. Spread a little cheer, a little love, a little joy. If people are around you that are not cheerful, loving, and joyous, it's because of you. It's time for you to be more. Look inside of yourself. Say, what am I so afraid of? What in the world is turning me into an aggressive dog? Really? What am I insecure about? Do I not think that I can have enough? Gosh, this whole center is about how you can have enough. How you have more than enough. You can reach out into thin air and pull money in, and yes, we will talk about that in this class. I know we didn't last class, but we'll talk about creation in this class, about how to have money, how to turn things into a certain direction in your life, how to have your own life in order so that you have a place, a solid place to stand to give into your world. I want to do things. You know, I tried being poor. I didn't like it. I like having money. You get to do stuff with money. You get to give it away. I love giving money away. I love to way over tip. Isn't that cool? I mean, I have waited table before, so I know what a double tip is. But boy, you go into like a 4 and 5 time tip, you give equal amount as the bill. That changes someone's attitude and sets a domino effect in motion that would have cost a lot more to do than just that one gift. I want to do stuff in life. I think that each and every one of us showed up on planet Earth to be light bearers, to be bringers of peace, and to know who we are and to spread that awareness. And the way to do that is to put our lives in order. To move into that state which says there's a presence and a power within me that I can use and direct through the power of my thought, through the power of my words, through my intentions and my actions. And I can do anything that I want to do. We walked across fire just 5 days ago. The first thing is that we built a fire in the pouring rain. That was the first little miracle. It was a great fire. It burns down to about 1400 degrees when you walk. That's what they melt your engine block at. And people rolled up their pant legs and they walked across it. And whether people walked or not, every person there had some kind of a healing and some kind of a transformation. Why do we do that? Because if you can walk across fire, you can certainly pull enough money out to make your mortgage payment. You can certainly create a car that works. You can certainly have a better relationship with the people in your life because you see them as reflections of who you are instead of those dirty, rotten rack-and-fractions. They're simply calling you to be a better person. So be a better person. Be more if you want to have more. Embody that inside of yourself by opening up to the divine presence that you are. Get a little courage. Step out. Stop being so anxious. Try some new experiences. And what you might find is that you become more open and loving instead of the little yapper dog in the fence. You got to come out. You really do. You can't hide anymore, not and be on this spiritual path. You've got to come out in your prosperity, in your health, in your joy, in your love, in your happiness. And what you will find is that not only do the situations in your life change, but that the people around you have their lives change too. If you want to be a healing presence in this world, if you want to simply have the energy around you lift people up, you first must take care of your own house. You've got to clean up your thinking. You've got to be very mindful about your language. You've got to monitor your feelings and choose to feel the feelings that lift you up. You've got to learn to create so that you don't play small in this life, so that you can do what you choose to do when the opportunity comes up. You've got to. There's no turning back. You've already seen the light, and the light is in you. I invite you to join me tomorrow night for the journey of a light time.